I already made a video about how to turn these visuals into something beautiful. Okay, at least something better. In this video I'm going to show another solution. In the first solution we wanted to put the focus on the trends and we wanted to see all the products at the same time. In this video we are going to put the focus on one product at the time and keeping the other products as the context. Okay, this is how we start. I already decluttered it, so I'm not gonna do this in this video. If you are interested in the details, you can check the other video. Basically, I put everything a bit into the background so we can have more focus on the data. I changed the blacks into grays. I removed the borders, made everything a bit more organized. We will add a filter here because we want to see one product at a time. We will set it to single slicer, single select. But at the same time, we want to keep the context of the other products as well. How we will do the line chart is that we will have once all the products grayed out and we will have the highlighted product. We will do it with a workaround, like having two line charts. This one is going to be the context. This one is going to have all the products in it. I'm just gonna disable the interaction between the visuals so it always remains the same no matter what product we choose. Let's go here. We can remove the legend, go to the lines, make them thinner and change the colors, all of them to gray. Let's put the second one. Now we can copy this, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V. We don't need the interactions anymore. And as you can see, this one is filtered by the filter, the slicer here. And this one remains the same. If we put them overlapping, you can see how it works. Let's change the line, make it thicker and change the color to, oh wait, don't forget to take out the legend from product, I forgot it. And now if you change the colors, it changes for all of them, all the products. There are some issues with it though. Once we have the values, the axis twice, and they are also different. This is because depending on the selection, the max value of this, the max x-axis value is going to be the max value of the selected product. But here you have all the products, it's going to be the max value of the highest product or the product with the largest sales, which is this paseo. So you can see that this one fits, but none of the others are fitting. So we have to make sure that both visuals have the same maximum y-axis value. And how to do it, we are going to do it with a measure. I already wrote it, so I'm just going to copy paste the measure here. How it works is it creates a table in a variable which ignores the filters coming from the visuals, but it doesn't ignore outside filters or slicers. For example, if you have here something to filtering the date or month, then all products ignores everything, so it lists all the products. And what we want to have is having the maximum value across all the months and all the products always available. How I solved it is creating a nested max x function. It works inside out, so it calculates the max sales for all the products, which product has the maximum sales, and then it calculates for which date does the product has maximum sales. So for us it should be the highest value of the product paseo, which is I think in December. Yeah, so this should be 4,700,000 something. If we put it into a card, yeah, that's what we get. We can put this measure as a field value into the y-axis maximum, but we have to pay attention to put here 0 as well, because depending on the selection, the 0 changes as well. It's not gonna be always 0, but like the lowest value. And here we are going to do a function, field value, financials, and max sales date and product. Product sales trend, we put 0. And the maximum value should be the same, but sometimes if you put labels, it changes a little bit, so it puts the label a bit differently if there is a maximum value given. So let's just put it here. It shouldn't change anything now. So if you change it now, you can see that the y-axis doesn't change with. I'm going to clean the axis from the bottom visual, but I don't want to remove them because the proportions change. I'm just gonna make everything white. Y-axis as well, values, and also the title. And now we can move the other visual onto the top. Yeah, nice. If you go to puzzle, it feels the same. Montana, yeah, everything looks good. As we did also in the first solution, we can put some labels. I wouldn't put all of the labels because it's gonna look pretty cluttered. You can put a maximum minimum value, or you can put the last and first data points. I already created a sales max date and a sales minimum date. Let's just put them here. Sales minimum date, sales max date. If you go into this, it compares the minimum month with the all selected minimum month. So if they are the same, then it returns sales. If they are not the same, then it returns nothing. So in the minimum case, they have a match only in January, and in the maximum case, they have a match only in December. We can change the colors. Either you go to lines or you go directly to the markers. I go to markers because I want to change the markers as well. For sales, no markers. For sales minimum date, I want to make this one a little bit smaller and this one a bit larger because I want to put more emphasis on the last data point. Just a bit different. So it's gonna be, okay, now this is gonna be like 4 and the color is going to be blue. The max date is gonna have 6, color blue. Add some data labels. And also adjust them differently. No data labels for sales. Make the data label for sales value blue actually. Also make it bold, put some background, and let's make it white. If it falls directly on the line, maybe it's not visible, so let's just change it. I'm gonna go like 30, maybe 40. Let's go to sales max date. I'm gonna make it a bit larger, also bold, blue, and get some background as well, 40. In fact, let's make the max date semi-bold. That's less emphasis. Okay, I think it's a good idea to put also like an average value there. So you have also like one fixed comparison because you don't really know what are these lines. I already wrote the measure. This is going to be average product sales. So what happens here, it calculates the sales for all the products, removing every filter, and then it calculates as the denominator the count of the distinct count of the products, removing all filters and then dividing them. So sales divided by the number of products. If you put it here, it's gonna look like this. I'm gonna put it on the top because it's gonna be below the sales line. Change the colors. Sales max date. It doesn't matter for us because it's already changed at the markers, but we changed this one. And average product is gonna be this. Let's change the average also into dashed line instead of solid. So select average sales and line style dashed. No markers, remove the markers for average product sales, and no data labels either. Okay, what I want to have, either we can put a legend, but I would like to address them directly, like which product is which. What we can do, we can add the legend, like what is the sales, what is the average, what are the lines, but I like to address it directly. So here it says like sales and here it says average sales. I can see I removed the data labels completely, only remove it from the average. So we can use the series labels, turning it on. All right, let's change this to average sales. There is one problem though, if we have very similar values. I don't know if you have an example. Yeah, for example here, the two lines are too close together and you only see the average sales. You don't see the sales value. That sucks. And what I would do is to put the average sales on the series labels, but I would put the sales directly next to this 1.8 million. And we don't need the sales minimum date and stuff like that. Let's get back to series labels. Turn everything off except average sales. And how to get the sales here is simply coming here. This is a placeholder. Then this is going to be the decimal number. Having a space, sales, and it looks like this. Okay, perfect. With the series labels, we can go back to the average sales. No, okay, go back to all and have a maximum width of 15. Because we have to change this also for the bottom visual. Okay, view, selection, you can put it here, and this is the bottom visual, series labels, I'm gonna keep them all. But maximum width is 15 and make the values white. Gonna group them. Adjust the size. And one addition we can do is to make the title dynamic. I have a measure, of course, already. I'm just gonna copy it. And this is a simple title, like showing all the values which are selected. We can just go here, the group is selected, one more click and we selected the visual. Go to formatting, general, title, and we can give a function, field value, financials, title product. So now it changes dynamically depending on what we select. Okay, great. We are done with the line chart. We can also address the table. There is like two things we can do, either to change them into bar charts and keeping a context like here, or we can also keep the table and highlighting the line given. I'm gonna show you both ways. Let's start with the bar charts first. So I'm just gonna copy it for later and disable it or hide it. And we can turn this into a bar chart. Let's declutter it first, remove unnecessary elements. We don't need the title of the y-axis. We don't need the x-axis altogether. No title either. The issue is the same like with the line charts. I don't think I showed it with the line charts, but the thing is that we cannot give conditional formatting to it. So we have to have a workaround. We are going to do it in a similar way like here with the lines. I'm gonna delete the interaction between these. This is gonna be our basis, the context of all the products. I'm gonna remove unit sold because it have different units than the sales and you cannot really compare them. I'm gonna make it in a different bar chart. Let's remove this and let's make everything gray. Like the second one. We can also remove the legend, it doesn't make any sense here and we will have a different solution for it for the colors later. I'm gonna copy this. And what we want to have here is that it shows all the products even though it's filtered, and at the same time it only shows values for the products which are currently selected. A workaround to get all the products here is to duplicate this dim product table. Going to transform data, going to dim product, duplicate. I'm gonna call it higher level. Okay, close and apply. We can check for automatic connections. Yes, delete this. And connect it to the dim product through product number or product, it doesn't matter now. What matters is to make it one directional. That the dim product higher level, I forget the parenthesis, dim product higher level filters the dim product, but not the other way around. I think it's one too many and single. Yes, okay. Okay, change the name. And we are going to replace this here. And show items with no data. So great, it shows everything now. We can also put them into the same order. Change it to sort axis by sales, descending. And the top one as well. Sales descending. Okay, we change the colors here. Gross sales is gonna be Let's make it a bit darker. Sales is gonna be blue and profit is going to be dark blue. Yeah, the problem is that here the selected product has the maximum sales always, because their other products doesn't have anything really. And what we can do is to have a maximum gain like we had here for the line chart. We will do it with a measure, and this measure is building upon the assumption that the gross sales is always going to be the largest, that it's always going to be larger than the sales. It looks like this. First we create a variable table where for all the products all the gross sales are going to be returned, ignoring the lower level product dimension, and then we will calculate the max value from this table and then returning that value. Let's see how it works. Let's go to the x-axis and give 0 minimum, and the maximum is gonna be this max gross sales. Max gross sales all products. Here we can turn on the data labels to see the values. If it's not visible, we can make it smaller, or we can change the font. Like this, still not visible. If you change it to thin, you can see all of them, and you can even make it larger. Let's go to the bottom one, and we will add the max gross sales here as well, even though it should be the same. Like if we select Paseo, they have the same values. This is 29 million and this is 29 million as well, but because there is a max value given to the x-axis, it changes a bit how the label is displayed. Let's put here 0. Even that, if you put 0, it also makes a small difference, and we select max gross sales as well. And it's still not the same because we turned on the x-axis here. If you turn it off, it adjusts, and now they have the same size. But the sorting is still different. Luckily, the measure we wrote solves this problem as well. If you put it here, not small multiples, tooltips, and sort it by it, it takes all the gross sales from all the products into account. So it gives a proper sorting for us. I'm gonna turn the Y value into white, just not having too strong text here. Okay, we can make it a bit larger. We can group it and make it smaller. So far it looks very cool. We can do the same thing for units sold in a different section here. I'm just gonna copy everything. Go here, open this, gonna turn this off. Gonna turn the interaction between the visuals off. Replace the measures with units sold. Where is it? Basic units sold. And we can also change the maximum x-axis. We can take the same value like here, but instead of gross sales, we just take units sold. I have the measure already. Copy paste, and this is the same but with units sold. Hit OK, and we can change here the maximum value to units sold, max units sold, all products. Change the color to gray. Yeah, if there is only one measure in the bar chart, we can actually use conditional formatting, but I already built it, so I'm going to do the same solution like with the multiple measures and change here everything. Deleting these, units sold. Change the color to purple and change the maximum x-axis. And why is it different? It's because we have a different order. I want to sort it the same way, so in one line there are the same values, and we can do it with sorting by gross sales. So I'm just gonna put it into, it's okay, it's already there, And I think it's also sorted by gross sales, okay, but not the other one. So let's go into this, add max gross sales, tooltips, and sort it by that. Now it's good. Paseo, yeah, looks great. Here for some reason you see it's white. If you change, it changes color, but not for this visual. So I don't know why is that, but we can go here, go to data labels, and with the values select this overflow text, so it changes. I also want to make these two a bit narrower, the bar charts, to make it skinnier. We can go like maybe 40, maybe 50. Let's go to 50. Yeah, that looks good. And we can also remove the y-axis. I think we can see where they belong to, but I also want to keep the proportions, so I'm just going to make it white. Yeah, but we don't know what these are. We don't have a legend, but I would solve it differently by coloring these cards according to these colors as well, and then we can see here immediately what values they are, what metrics they are, I mean. And I would in fact take these and move them to the bottom, directly above the bar charts, and move it onto the top. And then we can change it into these KPI multi-row cards, because we can have these lines here, this accent, which I think is really nice, and it also initiates like the color. We can make the values a bit larger and use din. I like din for the numbers, and then segue with UI for everything else. That's fine. And then we can change the color into the same color like the gross sales, both of these. If it feels a bit wedged out compared to this, you can put a slightly darker color, maybe this. And you can still tell that they are the same colors. Okay, let's change them all into multi-row KPIs. I adjusted the others off camera, and another thing I did was to make the accent thicker, 4 pixels instead of 2, and I also removed the borders. We are basically done, but we can also make it a bit nicer. For example, we can round the corners, going to shape, put it to 25. We can also add some shadows and adjust a little bit everything. And we can also put this line chart a bit more into the foreground. So I'm just gonna copy this, creating a smaller version of it, just eyeballing it, not very accurate. And we can adjust the shadow a little bit. Going here, also want to make it custom. Blur, no, this is okay. Blur 20, angle 45, distance 20. And let's move it on the top of the other shape. Maybe it's better to have actually the products shown here, because there is quite a distance between them. So let's change it back to gray, and we can give a max area width like this. Okay, it's always gonna be visible, but then we have to do the same here. If you go through the products, you can see everything adjusts nicely. I like it a lot actually. But we also wanted to see how it works with the table if we keep the table and highlight it. So I'm gonna show that too. Let's hide these, unhide the table. So how we want it is that this is not filtering the products, but it filters the highlights. And this time, putting the product here doesn't really work for us. Here, as you can see, even if I show all the items, this is from the higher level products, it shows only the products from Karatera, because the sales table, the finances table is still filtered through this. Even though we see all the products, we don't see all the values. The solution for this would be to make another copy for the dimension table, product dimension. Go transform data, duplicate, and this is gonna be a disconnected table. Disconnected. Okay, close and apply. Delete relationships. Yes. All right. And now we will put that inside. Nice, we have values everywhere now, but since there is no relationship between the filter and this table, nothing is filtered, so the products are not filtering the values. And we have to write new measures. What we want is that the measures are treating this product table as if it would be the original product table. We can use the treat as function for that. I copy here the sales measure. I already wrote all the measures. How it works, it calculates the sales measure with the treat as. So it takes the disconnected products and treats them as if they would be the products from the original dim product table. If I put it in the table, you see it suddenly gets the right values. Then we can go to the next one. Gross sales, which is the same, but instead of sales, it's gonna be the gross sales value. And I'm gonna do the rest off camera. I also align them again and change the colors, the total colors changed. And now we can do the highlights. We have to create another measure for this. Okay, that's the measure here. How it works, it creates a variable which saves the selected product from the filter. In this case, it's Carretera. Max value, we always have only one value, so it's always the selected value. And if it's the same as the max product, this disconnected table, and if they are the same, then it returns 1, otherwise it returns 0. So in this case, it should return only for Carretera 1. Let's see how it works. Yeah, you see, this is 1. If I go to Montana, it changes as well. I want to point out that it only works if we have this single selection here. Just for showing it, if I change the slicer settings to multiple selections and I select multiple accounts, it stays the same because it picks the maximum value of the product names, which is alphabetically puzzle. If I put Velo, it's gonna be Velo, as you can see. And how to solve it would be going back to the color current product. First of all, you should replace it with values. But if you do that, then there is a problem here that this values has multiple values now, and one value cannot equal multiple values at the same time. But there is this in operator, and it creates a list, and if this max value fits or matches any of the values from this list, then it's going to return 1. So as you can see, it returns 1 to all of these. Okay, let's resolve it. Now we can delete this from here and use it as a conditional formatting. Let's go to cell elements, and unfortunately you have to go through all of them one by one. Let's make the font color first. Font color, rules, let's pick a, let's stay with rules. And this is gonna be the color current product. If it's 1 number, then it's gonna be blue. We can also change the background color for more emphasis, doing the same. Color current product number, and let's change it to gray, light gray, and I do the rest off camera. After we are done, we don't need these cards anymore. We can just delete them. And yeah, move them a little bit. We can adjust it. Guess like this. And we have a nice visual here again. As you go through the slicer, all the products are filtered. This solution and the other in the other video are just 2 ways to do it. I'm sure there are better ways to do it. If you have some feedback, suggestion or some critiques, you can leave a comment and let me know. If you like the video, you can hit the like, and see you next time.